As China's high-speed train construction picks up again, news of the futuristic VAC train has made a comeback on the Chinese internet. Now, as of now, China, the U.S., and Switzerland are the only countries who are investing in and developing the technology. The VAC train system works by shooting magnetically levitated trains through a vacuum-sealed tube. Now, such a construction means that friction and air resistance is nearly non-existent, allowing the trains to travel at speeds up to thousands of miles per hour. Now, magnetic levitation vehicles that float on a bed of magnets have been around for a long time. It's in use all across the globe, from the U.S. to Germany to Japan and China. But combining maglev technology with vacuum-sealed tubes could mean the next revolution in intercontinental or even international transportation. Now today, one of the leaders in the field is American engineer Darrell Oster, who holds the patent for what he calls evacuated tube transport. His design involves a 6-person capsule about the size of a car, which is shot along a vacuum tube using maglev technology. He has proposed various configurations from 200 miles per hour systems for local transports to 4,000 miles per hour systems for continental and intercontinental transports. The technology could reduce the trip from the U.S. to China to a couple of hours, making it a revolution in both passenger and freight transport. Now, so far, Oster's company has sold more than 60 licenses for the technology. 12 of these licenses have been bought by Chinese companies and institutions. Now, the cost of what Darrell Oster terms space travel on Earth are not expected to greatly exceed current costs of building high-speed rails. However, there will be additional costs in maintaining the vacuum and to cool and power the magnets. On land, a VAC train system could be put underground in tunnels, or it could go in steel or concrete tubes above the ground. To cross an ocean, the tube could be anchored with cables on the ocean floor. And now let's have a look at what Weibo users have to say about this futuristic transporter.
If we applied the same technology to cars, the many science fiction Hollywood blockbusters would come to life. What a wonderful time we live in. I'm just thinking about how they would stop this vehicle. I would prefer if this technology did not come to China. It's much too dangerous. If they suddenly increase the speed, then I think we will be able to see our stomach in front of our own eyes. Is this meant to be a passenger train? Would people have to wear special clothing to ride the train? Actually, I think that if the facilities are comfortable inside the trains, then it doesn't matter how fast or how slow the train travels. But unlike the potential train speeds, waiting for the future is very slow.
China's high-speed rail has been a major driver of economic growth in the country. Now, the first line from Beijing to Tianjin opened a week before the 2008 Olympics. And now the country has almost 6,000 miles of the high-speed lines. In December of last year, China opened the world's longest high-speed rail line. The train travels at 300 kilometers an hour and runs between the Chinese capital of Beijing and the manufacturing hub of Guangzhou in China's south. The 1,200 miles between the two cities, which had taken roughly 21 hours in the past by conventional trains, was reduced to an 8-hour trip. Now, as a comparison, with VAC train technology, the route could be theoretically covered in 20 minutes. Now, flights between Beijing and Guangzhou take about 3 hours. But air travelers in China need to arrive at least an hour before a flight, and airports tend to be further from the centers of the cities than high-speed train stations. And now let's turn to Weibo to see what Chinese netizens are saying about China's current transport system and what they believe to be the implications of VAC train technology.
Just 20 minutes to get from Beijing to Guangzhou? Are you sure this would not flatten the people sitting inside the vehicle? If they really develop this technology in China, then I will not be able to afford a trip home. Who is thinking about the operating and construction costs? The future is so far away. Right now, I'm only thinking about how to get a train ticket for my trip home for the Chinese Spring Festival. I don't think this helps with the difficulties in acquiring train tickets. Maybe it would be more efficient if they just ran more routes with the currently available trains. China should be proud of its work in high-speed rail technology. In the future, these sorts of high and super speed trains will be all over China.
2 years ago, Beijing-based Legal Evening News reported that researchers at China's Southwest Jiaotong University were developing a prototype vac train. The project would employ a partial vacuum and allow train speeds to reach up to 600 miles per hour. The researchers said that the technology could be used within a decade, and that smaller model trains may be introduced in the next few years. Now, given that 2 years has already passed, we may be closer to seeing vac trains than we think.